I've been vegan for over 20 years now, and I'm proud of the choice I made all those years ago. But as I get older, I wonder about how my circumstances may change. I want to be sure that my choice to remain vegan will be respected right to the end of my life. If I go on to develop dementia and need care, I'm afraid that I may lose my identity and may struggle to assert my veganism. So I thought how I might help define my identity and be sure my wishes, beliefs and commitment to veganism continue to be fulfilled. Anrich is a vegan tattoo artist, and today he is going to help me create an indelible reminder of the way I want to live the rest of my life. Well, thank you, Anrich. That's been much more comfortable than I thought. I really want to say thank you. I'm very impressed with that. Thank you so much for helping me on my journey.
It was my pleasure to do this one. Thanks a lot for you as well to coming down, and hopefully this will inspire you to spread the message and get it to more people.
Cool. Thank you.
I would urge anyone to think about putting their wishes about their diet and other aspects of the things that they're really passionate about in their life, their core values, down in a plan now that might be referred to later on should you become unwell and unable to communicate your beliefs and your wishes in the future. Now that might be because of dementia, it could be for lots of other types of illnesses where your communication is affected, or you know, it's just difficult for you to be able to manage things on your own any longer and you're requiring support. It's really helpful for carers to be able to see how you prefer things to be, what way beyond just your likes and dislikes, but making it clear that this isn't something that's just a fad. This is something that's really core to your being, to your beliefs, to who you are, to your personal identity. And if you get it into something like an advanced plan or an anticipatory care plan, different names for the same thing, but you're getting down these kind of details, it means that should you in the future, for whatever reason, lose your ability to manage your food yourself or even to make decisions for yourself any longer, if you lose that capacity, then within the principles of the legislation that we have, it would be quite clear that staff have to take into account your past and your present wishes. So to get the whole picture of what you felt really strongly about before and how you'd like things to be, as well as how you see things today. And lots of templates are available now online if you feel unsure how to go about this. And within those templates or toolkits, you'll find you can also put down advocates or organisations that you would like those staff to turn to for advice. So you could, for example, name Vegetarian for Life and know that they'll get good advice from that organisation about your needs as an older person who's vegetarian or vegan.
At Anam Cara, we always like to anticipate guests' needs who are coming in to visit us for short breaks. So one of the ways we do this is the anticipatory care plan. This tells us all about what your needs are, what's important to you, what's meaningful to you, and it can include things like your dietary likes and dislikes, what you like to do, what makes you happy. It's an important blueprint for the staff at Anam Cara in order for us to care the best we possibly can for you during your stay.
So people with dementia, for example, according to some of the changes that actually occur in their brain, may have difficulty in recognising all sorts of items, and that includes food. So people may, for example, particularly in certain types of dementia that affect the frontotemporal area of the brain, or anybody with any type of dementia that's very, very advanced, might fail to recognise that an item is or isn't a piece of food. So very recently, for example, we worked with a gentleman who eat a piece of soap. But we understand when we go into certain shops that often these items are actually made to look and sometimes smell like food items. So you can imagine how easy it would also be to fail to recognise that something is meat. If you have been brought up for most of your life, or your adult choices have been around choosing vegetarian sausages, for example, or making things with vegetarian mince, I think that I could say with confidence that I don't think about meat as food any longer. It's been so many years since I've had it, and I would freely talk about having a sausage or making a shepherd's pie or any of those sort of things. But I know I would mean using vegetarian products, and perhaps, you know, staff may not understand that would be the common sort of lingo or culture for somebody that's vegetarian or vegan to drop the labels, because, you know, it's been such a long time, they don't think about really being so explicit.
We want to be able to support our residents as much as possible, and their beliefs and the choices are always important to us, that we can support residents in their choices. I think the difficulties sometimes that can arise is when we have residents with dementia, or we could have somebody who's come into us and is vegetarian, and they could have dementia as well, and maybe one day they'll ask for sausage and chips that they've forgotten that they used to be or are vegetarian. And the challenge then is for us then to decide, well, are we to withhold our sausage and chips and go against their wishes or what they want right now, and support them in what we know their historic beliefs have been, or do we give in and give them their sausage and chips at that time because that's what they've chosen at that time, that's what their choice would be. So it can be very difficult at times, especially in those cases. It's not one that we've come across too often, but I think there is something that will have become more prevalent in future as generations are getting older, more people are going into care, and dementia again now is on the increase. So I think it's something that will face a lot of people and a lot of care homes in the future.
I've recently been doing some work with care homes around human rights, and I think that they are getting very confused in how they approach people who are vegetarian. They understand the need for choice for people, but don't always think more deeply about how that affects their belief system, and how someone may have believed for 30 years that they don't want to eat meat, and they have a very strong ethic around that, and suddenly they find they don't have capacity and they can't remember that they had this belief system. But that belief system is just as important as a belief system of any of the great religions, and it's really important in accepting that the human rights we have in the world today really do support this view that we must take into account people's beliefs and their best interests.
Food is so central to our identity. I know this as a Jew, as a rabbi, and I'm aware that that's the case for Muslim colleagues, Hindu colleagues, and people of different faiths. And then within that, I'm a passionate vegetarian with vegan leanings. And for the last years, I've also been diabetic. So I'm conscious of the importance of what we eat in many dimensions. It's at the core of identity. Now, were it the case that I were at some point living with dementia and had to move out of the family and community setting that has supported and protected me, and be dependent on the care of a home, I would deeply want all those aspects of my identity to be respected. I'm sure nobody would think of giving me loads and loads of sugar because medically it would be dangerous, but I feel at least as passionate or more passionate about being kosher and about being vegetarian. Those things are the rhythm and the meaning of my life. And it's protected under the Human Rights Act to support people in their diet and their choices, but it's also a part of honouring someone's dignity and personhood, and one would hope that that personhood stays with us for however long we live. However much we might lose our memory or feel tempted to resign our beliefs in order not to be a problem or difficult or cause extra work. It's so easy to just go along, but it would be very much part of the compassion and respect that I so often witnesses when I visit people in homes, to maintain and support those core values of identity and food that we take for granted in our homes and in the circumstances that we ourselves and our families have created for us.
I think something like your core diet is something that you do, as I say, you feel emotionally connected to, particularly if you've made vegetarian, vegan choices. And we know that in dementia, even where lots of damage can be done to someone's brain and their ability to reason and think things through, that if there's a strong emotional connection, it's much more likely to be retained. But it might mean that prompts are required. Things are not recalled so easily, connections are not made so easily, things are not worked through in terms of reason and connection with the same ease. So it means that staff can help by using words like vegetarian and vegan, using photographs, for example, pictures of food, having discussions with the person about their food, the smell, as well as the taste of things and how it's arranged, and being aware of the kind of sensory difficulties that we've talked about. If someone has a reduced contrast sensitivity, for example, it can be really, really helpful to make sure that the colour of the plate contrasts with the table cover, and the food contrasts in terms of colour and appearance with the plate. And it makes it much easier for people to actually see and recognise what they're eating.
It's very important for care homes to be inclusive of different religious beliefs, of vegetarians and vegans, of minorities, especially when we're losing our ability to make our own choices and are losing our mental capacity.